Oh, hello there, my silky friends. I'm trying to get this light right. How is everybody doing? It's Friday. Woohoo! I don't want to be too dark. Don't want to be too light. All right. Hello there, Just Deb. Tommy Baker. Hello. Samantha Springman. Hello. Hello. Um, Polygraph, it's good to see you. Well, I had no intention of going live tonight. I worked like a bunch of hours in the last 3 days. But, there was some breaking news. And so I was at work. I was working like the whole time I was working. I can't even say that with a straight face. My boss knows I was looking up stuff on the computer too. Because this case has been going on for they're saying 2010, but actually they're thinking it may be back even in the 90s. There are some other cases that may be linked later. We'll find that out. So I'm on there, and I wanted to get home and change out of my jail clothes. uh, if anybody watches this on the replay and you don't know me, I work in a jail. Like, I didn't just, get out of jail, but it feels like I did. Anyway, so I'm going to try to keep this to about an hour. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I know Friday nights are hard because people are so busy, and I know you're watching the mainstream media, but I wanted to go through some stuff because has anybody, first of all, tell me in the chat, have you been watching this case? Uh, are you familiar? I know Netflix did a documentary. I think it's called Lost Girls. I'm not sure. It's been a while. Mother of Dragons, hello there. Yes, I do have my fan going. Is it bad? I can turn it off. All I have to do is unplug it. I was trying to get this we better? Okay. Mother of Dragons didn't hear it, but that's okay. I don't want to be too loud now. I'll back away from the mic a little bit. Hello, Jinxie. Maybe I won't die. Maybe I won't suffocate tonight. It's not as bad as it has been on sometimes. Goodness. All right, so I'm going to jump right in here. Are you familiar? I didn't see anybody answer. Are you familiar with this case? Because it is like it's been going on. And there were some things, let me just tell you, right off the bat, from the breaking news to like immediately, there are documents available. If you haven't seen them, they're there. I'll probably put up the link when I get done. Usually I set up the video and stuff. You know what? I don't need this. Usually I set up my videos and stuff, a day or at least many hours in advance. But, it was just kind of grab stuff and go. So, Samantha. Yeah, you got the ACN fan. Oh my gosh. Okay, for those who are not familiar, the Long Island, this has been called many different things. It's been called the Craigslist killer, or the Craigslist, I think they're calling it the Craigslist Ripper. Craigslist Ripper. I saw that one. The Gilgo Beach murders, the Long Island serial killer. Like, it's got a lot of names. You know how kind of my Delphi people, how it was first called the Snapchat murders? That's how I first heard of it. So, okay, maybe my hair will stay put now the fan's not on. So, anyway, the way this case broke, okay? In 2010, no, 2011, no, 2010, sorry. We have a girl named Sherry. Sherry was, and let me just say this from the get-go, okay? This is a case that involves, how do I say this, adult ladies of the night. That is their profession. Now, before you get started on, I know a lot of times, I'm not going to lie, people's opinion, law enforcement opinion is, well, they deserved it. No, they didn't. Nobody deserves that. It does not matter what you choose as your profession. You do not deserve what happened. So anyway, they get a call. Sherry had been at a client's house, okay? And she was walking along the road, and this takes place on, of course, in Long Island. And she, something happens. She makes a 911 call, and she's walking home barefoot. I've heard part of this 911 call. It's a little bit lengthy, but in the meantime, they get a call, and she says, I need help. And the operator's like, well, where are you? She says, I'm in a house. And she says, are you home? Well, it's not my house. So all she said is she's in trouble and they are trying to unalive her. But they ask her, of course, where are you? And she says, I don't know. The call, gets cut off, whatever. They're, trying to find her. And I'm not saying they weren't. I don't know. But they didn't find her. And in fact, nobody found her until 2011. Okay, it was almost a year later. Yes, CJK. These women were daughters, possibly mothers. Yes, and we'll get into that. Yes, pay for play adult style. Absolutely. Okay, so anyway, they finally find Sherry's body in 2011. Now, when they're looking around, they're just kind of looking for clues. As they're looking around, they find 3 other bodies. And these bodies are wrapped in what they call burlap. So for years, people thought they meant like, the burlap that goes around plants and stuff like that you get. Sorry, I'm cat hair. But that is not what they meant. Actually, today in the press conference, they said it was a camouflage burlap. So they have some clues. And as they go along, it started out being called the Gilgo Beach 4. Because they originally find 4 bodies. But as they go along this stretch of road and they go out further, they come across many more bodies. So it's somewhere officially between 10 and 11. Although there is speculation, and we can get into that later, that there could be as many as 16. And then, we're talking about a serial unaliver. So who knows how many bodies there actually are. That will probably be something that comes up. So anyway, they find 3 more bodies. And I'll just be honest with you, the police were looking, and there were some other agencies involved, but the case does go cold, okay? They have no suspects. And in my opinion, knowing how sometimes law enforcement is, and being in the area, okay, we're talking about New York, very, very populated. It's like finding a needle in a haystack. So maybe there wasn't as much attention, potentially, because of the nature of their work. Y'all know. I'm not casting any stones on the police. I don't know. But according to people on Reddit, which I spent a long day today in Reddit, and I realized I can't present the facts and the Reddit on the same night. There are some really interesting rabbit holes on Reddit for this, because this case has been going on and on and on. So what happens? Well, it goes cold. People say they're working on it. Are they? I don't know. In 2022, though, they get a new head of the police division there in Long Island, and they decide they are not going to let this be a cold case. Hold on, let me turn my phone off so we don't hear beeps all night. Um, and they decide to get more agencies and a task force involved. Wonder if that would have helped Delphi. I'm just saying. Anyway, they are putting together this task force, and hello, deja vu. And so, unbeknownst to the public, they keep it really, really quiet. So, this is only like last February, they really started this joint effort to, we're going to catch this person. Now, you may have heard of these. Like I said, it is a huge case, but because it's so old and there's so many other cases, that have come up since, it has kind of gone by the wayside. But if you are a true crime person, like for years, you have heard of what they call LISK. They just call it LISK, Long Island Serial Unaliver. So actually, that would be Lisa, but just can't say that on YouTube. Um, weren't the bodies placed in strategic positions? I think I am not sure about that. I'm really not, because I have to go back and look at my look at the story again. It's been a long time. But anyway, one of the victims, and this is very sad, one of the victims that they find on out on this stretch of road also had they couldn't identify her, and I think they just refer to her as Peaches. She actually had a toddler with her. The toddler was also passed away. So it was a very sad case. A lot of people, a lot of families, with missing people. So, unbeknownst to the public, there were some things, and this did come out in the press conference, and we're going to be reading some of the things. I was on so many news sources because it's really fascinating. During one, there was a particular victim that was actually unalived in 2010, and I think maybe even before Sherry. But what happened in this case is, what these women all had in common is they were small, petite, and they also had their services listed on Craigslist, hence the name, the Craigslist Ripper. And so what they did not realize is the police are looking at this. Amber Costello was one of the victims, okay? Amber, again, had the same profession, but she was actually trying to pull a fast one, okay? She gets a guy from Craigslist who calls her up, wants to meet up with her. And it's in the evening of September 1st, I believe. September 1st, 2010. And when he gets to the house, she has it set up where there is at least one or two other guys there, and they burst in the room and they, act like the offended spouse or boyfriend, whatever, and they make the guy very uncomfortable, and he ends up leaving. Now, he has already paid Amber, so really this was just a ruse. Well, now, this was not a guy who was just going to walk away. So they think it's all over for the night, but the next day, Amber gets another call from this guy saying, hey, that wasn't very nice. I expect, a freebie now. And so I don't know that they made plans on that first one, but then he calls her later in the evening, about, I don't know, 9 o'clock or so at night. She agrees to meet up with him. And all we know is that she left her phone in her house, her cell phone, and she walks off. Now, she is missing. So when the family realizes, and the friends realizes that she is missing, they haven't heard from her, Steph's at home, very sus, the police start asking questions like, okay, can you describe this guy that came in? just, not knowing if it was the same guy, but can you give us a description of him and his car? Well, now they say that this guy was tall, somewhere between over 6 feet, and he was big. He wasn't necessarily like grossly obese or anything like that, but he was a big person. That's how they described him, just a very hefty person. He had brown hair, he had glasses, and that's about all. I mean, he was kind of nondescript, There wasn't like huge things they could look for. But what they did remember is that he drove a Chevy Avalanche truck, first edition. So this is all in the notes, okay? And they've got all of the evidence collected. And all they've got is a big guy, but he's nondescript, and he drives this kind of truck. Well, in, Massapequa is, where they end up landing. And Amber was actually from West Amityville, I believe. There's such a dense population here, y'all, that, like I said, needle in a haystack type of thing. What we didn't know is the police were keeping this close to the vest. They didn't put out a sketch or anything like that, say we're looking for this guy. They just kind of kept it under wraps. Now, according to some Redditors, it was kept under wraps on purpose, and that supposedly there were a lot of people that did not want this crime solved. And perhaps we can see some reasons why as we go along. Now, Samantha says, "Turn your fan on. You're glowing." I think my lights just. I don't know. It gets either darker or brighter for whatever reason. I don't know. There. Is that better? Okay. So let's go into some media, okay? Because I have found some things that I'm just telling you. Let me go back up here too. First of all, this is the guy that was arrested. Let me shut that down for just a second. Okay. Now, where I've got my light, I can't see anything. All right. This guy, and if you can see this, he is pretty nondescript, okay? Now, if you want to see a chilling video, someone took, because he is somebody in Manhattan. Y'all have hit the big time when you hit Manhattan, okay? He had a video made about him, how he got into his line of work. He has his own architectural type firm. We'll get into that in just a minute. But I mean, this guy, you can see he's nondescript. He's got, maybe a little bit of gray in there, brown, just kind of meh. Now, this guy's name that they arrested today is Rex Heuermann. All right, so me, I'm a nerd, and if you didn't know that, well, you're gonna find out. So I was looking at his name, and I'm thinking, man, what kind of name is that? That's German, right? Man, you're a man. And I thought, what kind of man is that? So I looked this up on Google Translate, because that's what I do. Heuer, and this is actually the pronunciation of this, and this is just a picture, so I can't do it. But the pronunciation for this is actually, let me see. I've cut myself off. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing here. It's Heuer. If you are in the German language, it's Heuer, and although that's not how he pronounces it, and it means this year. So it's this year, man. It's this year, man. So what does that mean? Like, is he man of the year? Like, he probably is man of the year, because his, we got a lot. Oh, I see what happened. Yeah, I'm falling. This is going to be the talk of the year. I can promise you that much. So, just for all you nerds. And then we're going to get into this, but if you can see this, I'm going to have to read this because it's so small. And this is just a small part of the PCA, but for Delphi people, I just want you to listen, okay? Daylight and dark PCAs. As described below, based on the serious, heinous nature of these serial murders, oh, I shouldn't have said that. Planning and forethought that went into these crimes, the strength of the people's case, the length of incarceration the defendant faces upon conviction, the extended period of time that this defendant was able to avoid apprehension, his recent searches for materials, CP, images of the victims and their relatives, counter surveillance conducted online as to the criminal. See, I can't even read that. As to the criminal investigation, his use of fictitious names, burner email, and cell phone accounts, and his access history of possessing firearms, the only means to ensure defendant Rex A. Heuermann's return to court is to remand him without bail. Okay. You know, it sounds like somebody knows what they're talking about. I mean, do you see what I'm saying? Let me catch up with you. Yes, you are right. It can be Swiss. It can be. Well, I looked that up too, Steve. And the reason I said that is because I wanted to know. It was German and so I'm like, what languages do they speak in Switzerland? They speak. I didn't know this, y'all. They speak German. They speak French. They speak Italian. There might be one more. So it could be a combination, but it is I don't know, the man part. It could be interesting. Let's see, tag here. You're making me sweat. Turn on your fan. I can't now without I can't turn it on now without making the light go out. I think there's something wrong with my plug here. All right, so let's go back to let's go back to our screen. Now, I found this interesting. Some things about Rex Heuermann that you might not know. He began working in Manhattan in 1987. Okay, he is the son of an aeronautical engineer who built satellites. And this, as you see in the middle, this is the website I got this from. This Patchog, whatever. It's a news site. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting, I think, to find out his history because, like, how are you a professional person and you know you've got all this going for you, and then but you're actually you know, probably if your parents are an aeronautical engineer, you're thinking you're coming up from a educated, better off family, so it's not like you wouldn't think. I don't know what kind of trauma he's had. Okay, just thought that was interesting. His father taught him how to make furniture, and he still what is that word? I can't see it. Furniture in the same workshop. He builds it anyway. And I think if you watch the video on my community page, it is that interview, and he talks about his, everything, his rise to success and his background. Yeah. So, and I'm not gonna get to the next one. Sorry, this was literally pictures off the computer. Now, really some interesting things, and we're going to get into details, but these are some highlights. His wife's DNA was found on 3 of the victims' bodies. And the first thing you're saying is, this is a couple thing, right? No, but we'll get into that. Very interesting. So if they had her DNA back in 2010, 11, whatever, why did it take so long? Well, there is a reason. We'll get to that. Cell phone calls made from a burner phone to the victims were traced to his office. Now that I don't know that is 100% correct. We do know that they were traced to Midtown Manhattan. Um, I wouldn't think, and I know that's where his office was. So, but as far as I know, they weren't traced to like inside the office. It wasn't an office phone or anything like that. Okay, by the way, he got married a long time ago, and, but yeah, like, a lot of men, he has a Tinder profile. Imagine that. I'm shocked to my very core. And his Tinder profile photos were linked to the burner phone. His Chevrolet pickup truck was seen by a witness to one victim's disappearance. We know that, and we will get into that. He matches description of the ogre-like man seen with one victim before she vanished. I think that is what the witnesses said, that for Amber Costello is he was kind of ogre-like. Yeah, I mean, he like big and, I don't know, kind of Shrek-like. And I hate to say that because I love Shrek. But, all right, let me catch up. Hey, Frank Meister. Heuermann is Jewish. I didn't come up with that at all. I didn't. You could be right, though. That does sound right. Like it could be. Interesting, though. But you gotta say this. He's at least gonna be Man of the Year, right? Infamously. Yes, Samantha, he's got his own architect firm, and we are going to get into that. So, now, here we are. The suspect's vehicle, yes, like I said, it was a first generation Chevrolet Avalanche. And in the press conference, what they said is, okay, basically, they've got a car, okay? They got a description of a guy who is nondescript, except we know that he's big and ogre-like. And I don't know how many Chevrolet Avalanches there were, but it's Long Island. Probably quite a few. So as they are going through the database, okay, and they're looking at, cars registered, IDs, they hone in on Rex, good old Rex, okay? He was a married father of two. He lived in Massapequa Park, strangely enough, where the victims disappeared from. Now, I'm just saying this. I know a lot of times it's a crime of opportunity if you're looking to do that, but I like to think I'd be smarter. I would like to think that if I was going to do that as a hobby, I would do it far away. But that's just me. People like their own backyards, I guess. All right. As law enforcement closed in on Mr. Heuermann, they served more than 300 subpoenas and search warrants that uncovered cell phone records for burner phones used to arrange meetings with 3 of the Gilgo 4 victims before they went missing. So, all right. They've got, and I understand they've got more manpower than Delphi. However, they also had a task force with other agencies. Do you see how this plays out? How much more effective are you if you have more than Tweedledee and Tweedledum? Okay? Yeah, I said that. Whatever. Yeah. So yeah, they were able. So what they were doing at the press conference, they said they were like constantly getting subpoenas for all of these burner phones, records from the other victims' cell phones and stuff. Who had they talked to? Now, Mr. Rex was not a stupid man. Obviously, he's eluded police this long. What he did, they realized, is that he would take and he would get a new burner phone for a new victim. And then once he met up with them, whatever, and they were no longer with us, he would trash that burner phone. But the way that they actually traced it, due to time and pings and stuff, was because he was calling the victim's cell phone. So it wasn't on his records, but it was on theirs. So you can see where it would take a long time to, y'all know, when you ever try to get records for something or get something through court or an approval, it takes a hot second. So yeah, they had all these people working on this case to try to prove this. So, and what I would say with this is when I started looking at, sorry, my cat's going nuts. When I started looking at this, I realized that they had been working behind the scenes, like fervently, really for a long time. Maybe some of them not so much. Again, if you want to hear the Reddit gossip, we can do another session on this one. Okay, this one was what really got me, because I actually read this before the press conference. I was reading everything because the press conference didn't show up till about 3 p.m. my time. The hair of the suspect's wife found on 3 of the Gilgo Beach victims. All right, and her hair was found on or near 3 of the victims, prosecutors said in a bail application. A hair was recovered from the buckle of one of the belts found binding the body of Maureen Brainerd Barnes. 2 female hairs were recovered on the body of Megan Waterman, who was found bound by tape. 1 hair was found from outside the head area and another from the tape of the head area. Now, again, what happened is, when they were doing the forensics on the bodies, and they found the hairs, and you would first think, oh, okay, well, it's the hair of the victim. But when they, checked it out, it was definitely a female hair, but it was not from the victim. So, you have to think, how long did they wonder, do we have a female, unaliver? Is there some crazy woman out here? But, and these women were smaller, so I guess they would probably have to consider in the beginning, all right, or maybe a team. Yes, transfer DNA, just Deb. Let's see. Chinks, he looked like a troll. He does. Okay. So anyway, let me go to the next one. Yeah, because this one is kind of cut off, and I'm like, how did they know? Yeah. Now, we'll get into the reason they could not figure this out. It comes down to this, and I think it's going to say it somewhere in here. The problem was in 2010, 2011, they had the hairs. They knew it was a female. They could get DNA, but it wasn't the kind of DNA that they really needed to prove who this was. They had to have mitochondrial DNA, which is way more complex, okay? And there are theories that say that it's not mitochondrial is, I don't know, not as exact. Other people say it is more exact. So I guess it depends on who you're listening to. But they were unable to do that because mitochondrial DNA back in 2010, 11, whatever, not a thing. So when they started investigating again in 2022, they were able to send this off and get that mitochondrial DNA, which led them to now, understand by this time Heuermann's was already on the radar, but it led them back to his wife, and this is how. On July 21st, 2022, basically, an undercover officer recovered 11 bottles from a trash receptacle in front of Heuermann's home. The bottles were swabbed and samples sent for testing. You know, I'm just saying, if y'all out there committing crimes, you better burn your garbage. Which kind of makes me wonder, back in the day when I was a little kid, like especially rural, and even sometimes now, you didn't have trash pickup. People just burn their garbage. You know, maybe that's why there's so many unsolved cases from a long time ago. People be burning that evidence. Um, okay, so they got the DNA profile from the body, and it matched the mitochondrial uh, hair. Okay, so now they know. So at this point, they know. Okay, it's definitely uh, Mrs. Heuermann's hair. Now, did she do it? Well, you know, honestly, it would be very strange for it to be a woman. Not impossible, but very strange. So, they started looking at the timelines, okay, well, they have to rule her out, either in or out. And three of the four victims, she and her family, not him, but her and the kids, were either out of town. One time she was literally out of the country, but there was only him at home. So when the unalivings occurred, that completely rules her out because they could tell, I guess, probably by credit cards and maybe travel, whatever. It's easier to find someone traveling. And I mean, she was further away. Not like she could have just done this and drove, my understanding. And I'm sure that they have vetted this. Okay, and I wanted to make sure that there was nothing left in there. Okay, so now they need Mr. Heuermann's DNA also. And so, how do they get that? From a pizza box. And look, they didn't just do this, 1 week and say, hey, we need to get some, covert DNA from him. No, this took quite a while. But they did watch him, and I don't know that it says it here, but somewhere I read it was more than just a little bit. Sorry, Mina's just shaking over here. So here is a picture, a discarded. It was a discarded pizza box, so y'all be careful out there. I'm just saying. Look at. I don't know. But they picked it up. How we see it in the movies so many times. People take a drink of something, lay it down. Here's the thing: if you're going to be a criminal, do always take your cups and glasses with you. Burn your garbage. I don't know. Try not to leave people's hairs at the crime scene. Uh, I don't know. What do y'all think? Um, all right. And I know y'all are discussing the picnic, and I really wish I was going to be there. But now I couldn't get off work. So, y'all have fun. Have fun for everybody. All right. So this is when they threw the garbage they got it from the garbage and on Fifth Avenue in Manhattan. Now, what they did learn from these burner phones is that, first of all, they knew that the burner phones were in Massapequa. However, if you don't know about, New York, the New York City area, it's so big, and you have like, what is it? I've been there several times. It's like 4 or 5 little spots, like in between waterways or whatever, that are actually communities, large communities, like cities within themselves, and whole, not just neighborhoods, but neighborhoods upon neighborhoods. Like you have Brooklyn, you have Manhattan, you have Long Island, you have Queens, and well, Jersey City's not far either, but that is actually in New Jersey. Anyway, you have these little it's smaller and broken up, but Long Island, Manhattan, I'm guessing probably at least a 45 to 1 minute to 1 hour commute on the transit system. Definitely not within walking distance. Okay, so on the burner phones, you have the part of Long Island that is known as Massapequa, and West Amityville, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that house, all that stuff's over there on Long Island, and so they know that the victim and this burner phone is there. But what they also get, and this sick piece of crap, he uses a burner phone to call the victims' families and just like torment them. So when they actually found, could trace this burner phone, they found he made a fatal mistake. He was calling from Midtown Manhattan. Like, that's right in the center. Okay, that's like where Midtown Manhattan is, I don't know. It's probably Times Square might be a little bit north, but anyway, it's close to that area. Okay, it's down in the thick of things. It's right in the center of that long place they call Manhattan. And so now they know that, okay, the perpetrator has something to do in Manhattan, probably lives on Long Island. So they can narrow down. You see where I'm going? They can narrow down in the beginning. Okay, we know he's kind of a big guy. He drives a Chevy Avalanche, and he probably works in Manhattan and lives in Massapequa, because you wouldn't do it opposite. Um, so this is kind of where they're getting to. And I think this is fascinating, just to know that they were trying so hard, for so long, and we didn't know, Because this is a hard case to, web sleuth, because there's so many people, so many potential. You would kind of have to, be there, I guess. And this guy showed no red flags. Okay. Watch that video on my community page. I don't even know who made it, but I mean, as he's talking, he looks like the most normal person in the world. And that, to me, folks, is what is scary. So yeah, they were able to tell she didn't, the wife did not have anything to do with it. And in June 2010, and this is talking about another one of the victims, Melissa Bartholomew. Her cell phone records show that she was in Maryland. Oh, this is the wife, that she was in Maryland when Megan Waterman was vanished. I'm just screwing this up right and left, y'all. This is what happens when you're on the fly. All right, so we've already talked about this. So yeah, we get to the place where they've narrowed it down. Now they've got his DNA. They've got the wife's. They know that he's involved, and now they've got all these subpoenas to trace all of these calls. So, here we go. They are ready to make an arrest. And I mean, that PCA, great. Great PCA comparatively to Delphi. Now, like I said, there are a lot of interesting things that I have not said that come from Reddit. You can go down that Reddit rabbit hole about reasons. Interestingly enough, though, there was somebody I noticed that a month ago posted he made a lot of posts, or he or she, and they said they are going to, there's going to be a break in this case, and it's probably going to be within a month, and that was right at a month ago. So obviously somebody knew something. But yeah, here's another picture of this lovely piece of human. And you look at him and you think, well, he had money. So, you know how that goes. Pretty much, you can be a toad if you have enough money. He did. He did. And I don't know why he had a thing for ladies of the evening, and they realized he was still doing this. Now, I don't know how many unalivings are going to be attributed to him in the end. Yes, deja vu. I have a screen for that. Suffolk County. Yeah, I don't know what I did with it. I thought it was in there. Maybe I just passed over it. Um, but yes, he actually in that video he talks about how he got into this, and I mean he knows all the laws of architecture. However, this guy right here, he also had some shady dealings, okay? He was involved in a case where he had done some renovations, and oh my goodness, what happened? I don't know what I did here. I guess I'm still here. Um, he did some renovations, and they had a lot of problems with that, and he got sued. I don't know. I didn't read that whole case, but you know. So here he is, the guy that has everything. He's got. Although they said this is some weird stuff. He apparently lives in a very nice neighborhood in Massapequa, and it says the neighborhood is like 2 stories, beige, kind of white and beige houses, nice area. But his house was a little red, I think it was brick, 1 story house. Like the neighbors say it's creepy. Now, I don't know if they thought that before they knew their neighbor was a, SK, but now they're saying he was very standoffish. It is true that nobody really seemed to know the family that well. Just, I've got a plane or chopper or something making a lot of noise over my head. So I don't know if that's picking up. Jeez. So but they have said that the house was creepy. He wasn't the most outgoing kind of person, and they didn't really know him. However, I mean, honestly, you got a big business in Manhattan, you're going to spend a lot of travel time from Long Island. Yeah, you probably don't want to hang out with the neighbors. But it's odd that he has a very affluent business, but yet his home not so nice. Like the neighbors are like, it's that house. It's that house down the street that you're like, oh my God, I wish they'd do something with that. It's really not up to standards. And certainly he had the money to, or should have, I assume, had the money to renovate it, add on to it, whatever, to make it, better. Of course, a lot of his money apparently was going to call girls. So there's that. Um, you know. Uh, Let me see. You said Deja Vu said something. Yes. The wife and families were sent overseas. Quite convenient. Yeah. So the question is, did he suggest that the wife take vacations or visit somewhere, so he would have this time, or was he bored? I don't know. What do y'all think? Certainly, there's going to be a lot more of the history to come out. The main thing is that they have a name. They have somebody arrested, and now they even said in the press conference they are still looking at, like, this is still under investigation. Okay, still a lot of stuff going on. Some people again think that he should be held responsible for other bodies that they found, that were not necessarily listed in the LISK case. I'll put a little bit more on this. All right, we are close to an hour. Um, I don't know what that means. Uh, unique views says, okay, this ain't me saying this. The problem are Germans, okay? We're not going to be racist, but I mean, yeah, Germany doesn't have a great history, but I want to tell you something. Neither does the U.S. Look what we did to the Native Americans. So, just going to leave that there. Talk about injustice. I think we're pretty vile as well. Not hating on anybody. Mommy Wolverine, hello. So, What's the name of the architect firm? Let me see. I know I have. Let me see if I've got it on. If I just skipped over this, go back to media and see if I can find it because it should be on here. It was one of the first. Okay. I guess it didn't. I guess it didn't transfer over there. Let me look on my phone and I'll tell you exactly. It is called Rex A. Heuermann Architect PC. Well, this was his. There's a website. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff taken down. By the way, his Facebook, and that gives there are people that gave links to it. It's down. His LinkedIn basically just gives his name and the name of his firm. But this is well, this is actually his home address, 105 First Avenue. So y'all want to dox people? We're gonna dox him. It's all over the news. I'm not doxing anybody. 105 First Avenue, Massapequa Park. Now, the name of his place was. Well, dadgummit. I don't have it. There are a lot of. You can find that really easy. He does have a website, and I went on that website today. It has like design, architect, like they do remodeling and stuff like that, and like beautiful pictures. Hey, I'm telling you, this wasn't Joe Bob's fixer upper. This was a legit place, and it was really nice. But as I noticed as I was on the website, I was looking at, okay, so you do architecture, you do design, and I think it said interior design. So I'm looking through it, and then it says something about meet the about the people working there. That place, you can't get to that page. That page is gone. It's it'll give you some kind of error message or whatever. So I mean, as soon as I heard this morning, I was immediately on all social media trying to grab something, and no, it was already gone. So I don't think we're going to find out much about him. The scary thing about Rex Heuermann is that he was able to not only hide his crimes for this long, but to terrorize the families. What a piece of crap. What a piece of crap. It's bad enough you've taken their family members from them. But then, you sadistic, whatever. I'm not going to say it. This will, yes, deja vu. I believe it did start in 1996. That's what I was alluding to. There are some people earlier that were not part of the Gilgo Beach Four, which is where they really started honing in on, the LISK person. But yeah, I think you're going to find, because when in 2010, when supposedly this started, he was already in his 40s. As you know, that's not the time that people usually start their shenanigans. It usually starts earlier. So I would think that he probably did have, and some of those other ones, most likely, even if it's not those, it's probably others. I'd be shocked if he stopped with, or started and stopped with those. Mommy Wolverine says, I'm afraid to pay too much attention because I don't have time to get into another case. Yeah, well, here's the thing. Here's the thing with the cases. I love Delphi. I love Flora. That's going to hang around us for a long time. But honestly, there is, until we get to trial, or until somebody rolls, or it's okay. Yeah, we're going to keep looking for information. We're going to keep digging, and we're going to keep putting pressure on. But basically, we're almost at a standstill until Richard Allen goes to trial. So this one is, gosh, a lot of the family members have passed away now from these young women. They were in their 20s, most of them. Um, and it's been all these years, and some are not even with us anymore, and they haven't had closure. And so I absolutely, think, yeah, how many people, okay, let's just say, how many people are in that part of the state of New York? A gazillion. um, how many people may have been a victim that didn't fit, maybe they weren't uh, in that profession, maybe it was something else. I mean, how many people have you heard that put an ad on Craigslist, I'm going to sell a refrigerator, and then, they disappear? Could it be other things? And why did he target those? These are the questions that I want to know. What made him, again, coming from what it appears to be, from his family, it appears to be, why, what happened to you, sir? What happened to you that made you, you know, this monster? Um, these are questions that I want to find out. Uh, Let me make sure. Hello, Michelle O. Um, yeah, he was, and I think that is one of the biggest things for me is, again, he's sadistic. He's a sadistic, sick human being, and you know, I want to know why, because now, uh, we have the whole. I'm just getting dark. We have the whole perpetrator caught. Okay, so we know that we're not going to have any more of this. So now the question is, I honestly think they've got a ton of evidence what it looks like just from what they said, and there's going to be more in court. I think they've got, uh, probably enough to put him away. But my question is, what made him tick? What makes somebody, uh, do that? I mean, you usually see, um, so much abuse, when they're growing up, traumas, things like that that make people a little unhealthy mentally, okay, to say the least. And some people have had very, very traumatic backgrounds. So, um, what's up with Rex? You have to wonder. I mean, I can't imagine that he was fine and, no problems, happy childhood, happy life, and then, what? Oh yeah, I'm bored. Let me just go see, what I can do. No, I don't buy it. So it's going to be interesting to see what happened. All right, I'm gonna wrap this up because I wanted to keep it. I love to hear your voice, Mommy Wolverine says. Um, it soothes me. I wish, I'm trying to, save up for a really good microphone because, I hate the sound of my voice. I'll just be honest with you. Like, I sound like a kid. Um, I'd love to have a more smooth voice. One day I'll get there. Before we go, there's a couple of things that, I had put on the community page because look, there are so many cases that are worth looking into. And I know, here's the thing about the Long Island case. I am interested in all the backstories, and I am interested in the tea of what potentially is going on. Again, Reddit spills the tea, and they have a lot of it on, maybe some reasons that, Ellie and Long Island didn't do their job as effectively. I mean, I don't know. But there's that to look into. There's the background of Rex Heuermann to look into. Um, that will take a little bit of time, and we may find some interesting stuff out, and I'll let you know. If you want to hear the Reddit tea, honey, put comment in below or whatever, and let me know. You want to hear the backstories. Uh, but on the community page this week, I had put on there, let's look at some other cases that are unsolved, because I know for us, um, if you're a Delphi person, you love to pick apart details. And now we actually have an arrest that seems like it'll probably stick for the LISK killer. So now, what do we have that we can pick at while we're waiting for Delphi? We talked about Summer Wells. Some of you did not know Henrietta, Oklahoma. That if you let me say this, if you are a person who loves advocacy and hates cover-ups, and you hate the way things are shoved under the carpet, Henrietta, Oklahoma case could keep you going for a long time to expose predators and uh, words I can't say and basic pieces of crap. So think about that one. That broke about 2 months ago. The other one, somebody put in, is it Love County, Oklahoma, is where, and it was Mindy and I have to look at it. Yeah, I know you're gonna think I didn't look at it, but I really did. I really did. I looked at this case in Oklahoma. It's Love County. I remember that. And I spent a long time looking at the details. I mean, my God, it's like Delphi and Florida combined into one. You've got missing people. Like, they hadn't even found these people. Got missing people. You've got arson. You've got, the unalivings. You've got drugs. You've got incompetent Ellie. You've got people covering up right and left. A dirty sheriff. And oh my God, it's like, but this case was, what was it, in the 80s, early 90s, something like that. Like, it was a long time ago. And these people still haven't gotten justice. And just reading the, kind of the synopsis, I was like, oh, I know what happened to them. I really don't, but you read it and you're like, this has got to be what happened. And I would love to see these people come to justice. So if you are interested in that, I can't remember the names now, but if you'll look under, if you want to know, go to my community post, look at the comments, and somebody writes it all down there. And yeah, there's a rabbit hole and a half. Several people put some really good ones. There were some more missing people, and very good. So let me know if you want to look into Summer Wells, and that's closer to my area. So of course, I'm interested, very much so. However, I'm also okay, you can find me easier. You just up in Tennessee, I'm in Alabama. I've heard this, and I've told you before about the Summer Wells case. They say, we know how hard Delphi is as far as, creators and the crazy going on. They say if you think Delphi is bad, you look into Summer Wells, because those people are off the chain. So if you want to get into Summer Wells, we can do that, but be prepared. Put your big girl panties. Um, you need you need some Reddit tea. Okay, we can do another one. Like I said, it was weird. I found a lot of stuff on Reddit, and I was on the computer at work, and this is why there are so many bad screenshots, because it was earlier this morning and I was reading all this stuff, and I thought, okay, I'm going to take a phone screenshot, because obviously taking a picture of a computer screen is always going to be bad quality. So I go on my Reddit on my phone, and I am trying to find this stuff, and it was gone. Like, I don't know. I was looking. I thought it the same thing. And so I didn't close out the computer. I'm like, oh my God, let me snap this. But I'm going to try to see if I can find it better. Because here's the thing with Reddit. Sometimes people, users, whatever, if they realize they've said too much, they will close their account out and all their stuff is deleted and it goes bye bye. So yeah, there's some interesting things. Just Deb says, yes, please. Oh, y'all love some tea. Y'all are some tea drinkers. That spicy, spicy tea. Yeah. Okay, we'll do that. I know it's getting late. Tell me if you uh enjoyed this case. You might. Here's the thing: you might as well enjoy it because I'm telling you, it's going to be in the news for a while. All right, we're just finding this out. Yeah, it's going to be sticking around. So at least you know a little bit about it. So when you're at your next garden party or fighting in the church lobby, as Jinx and I talked about, you'll be knowledgeable, okay, about the LISK or the Craigslist Long Island serial guy. At least you'll know something now. So you're in the game. If you have anything else or any suggestions, or again, still open to suggestions on other cases that are intriguing. The one case, and you'd think it's Delphi or Flora because I spend so much time talking about that. The one case I think that intrigues me even more than Delphi, and that I really, really would love to see several people behind bars, and that is Boys on the Tracks. And I know I've done a couple of videos of them, but ugh, I am so mad. These people are still out and about and in places of power, what, 20 years, 30 years, whatever. It's been a bunch of years later. And here they are with their faces plastered up. Look at me. This is my position now. Yeah, you are a criminal. And that's why it gets to me. I could talk about Boys on the Tracks forever. So, anyway, all right, I'm gonna let y'all go. Okay, you're saying Summer Wells, Florida. Yes, I would love to. I need to get Coach Kev back. I know he's done some great videos on that. I've been working so hard that I honestly missed some of his. I have to go back hopefully this weekend and catch up. But the little bits I saw of them, they looked marvelous. And I need to talk to him. That is something too with Flora. What is it? What do you think? I know. What is it going to take? How much pressure? What? I want to see these people have to account for their actions. Okay. I want to see justice for Galen and for the girls. What do we, in your opinion, tell me, what do we need to do? How loud do we need to shout? I'm at a loss because, I'm glad that that they're going to have headstones finally after all this time. And that's great. That's great. But I want to see justice, okay? I want to see somebody pay. If they don't linger in jail, at least monetarily, at least publicly, I want someone held accountable for that. And I really, I'm really not sure how we do that. Oh, he did. Okay, Jinx says, Coach Kev dropped some very, very good dogs. Do you? Okay, I am definitely going to get with him. Actually, Coach Kev and I were trying to do one about Charles Manson and MK Ultra. Man, he sent me down a rabbit hole with that. I'm like, holy crap. And I wanted to talk to him about that, but I'll have to look at that. Coach Kev is such a, if you've got the, Jinx, if you've got Coach Kev's, link, I'm sweating to death now. Please drop it below and let me put it up on the screen. Yeah, if y'all haven't watched Coach Kev, he's really, really very knowledgeable. He's got a great presence on YouTube. I think he's amazing. Um, Samantha says, just before we close out, Cass County, Indiana had a couple of Boys on the Tracks events. Really? Yeah, Cass County's come up a lot lately in different things. I may want to look at that. You know, if Cass County had that kind of situation, I think that's what, honestly, that's what drew me from Delphi to Boys on the Tracks. Is when I first heard the story, I'm like, dang, that sounds like my theory of Delphi. And I had never, I'm ashamed to admit, but I'd never heard of Boys on the Tracks. And man, what a story that is. Amazing. Um, so yeah, you know, if that kind of thing, here's the thing, that kind of thing happens in Cass County, it happens in Carroll County too. Don't lie to yourself. Don't um don't try to pull the wool over our eyes. Yeah. Um. All right. One more thing. Yes, the fundraiser was a success. Where's this? Okay, Michelle O. Uh, MK Ultra is so freaky. Yeah, as a matter of fact, you know, not many people have my phone number. Carol Stanhope is one of those people who have my personal phone number. And she called me today to let me know, which I had already found out about the arrest today, but she called me and we were talking about that. And so I'm trying to get with her to get some other people that she knows who are MK Ultra and try to see if I can interview them. But yeah, this is crazy. Crazy. Yeah, right. Yep, that's the story, Samantha. But that's already been disproven. Actually, they know exactly. Here's the thing with Boys on the Track, that they know exactly who did it. And at least 9 or more people were unalived who were witnesses. So there is no question as to who committed the crimes. The question is, why aren't you in jail? That's my question. I could say that about some people in Delphi too, probably. But we won't talk about that. All right, I'll look up some more spicy tea. I am about to really burst into flames here without the fan. So I'm going to go. Hope you all have a beautiful weekend. My original intent was to go live this weekend and talk about weird crimes because I found some really funny and weird and bizarre crimes that have happened. And it was just going to be a fun night of seeing some craziness going on that wasn't, you know, depressing. And then this happened, so here we are. But I enjoy you very much. Thank you for everything. Thank you for listening. Stay safe. Stay cool. But whatever you do, folks, just stay silky. Bye bye.